conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation, Bharat News Post, Gyan and Gyan. Our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic. And today our topic is reservation in medical education. Reservation is a system of affirmative action in India that provides historically disadvantaged groups representation in education, employment, and politics. Based on provisions in the Indian Constitution, it allows the Indian government to set reserved quotas or seats which lower the qualifications needed in exams, job openings, etc. for socially and economically backward citizens. Reservation is primarily given to all three groups: scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, abbreviated as SC, ST, OBC, respectively. Originally, reservation was only given to SCs and STs, but was later extended to OBCs in 1987 after the implementation of the Mandal Commission report. The Constitution of India states in Article 15, subsection 4, I quote, "Nothing in Article 15 or in clause subsection 2 of Article 29 shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens of or for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes," unquote. Article 46 of the Constitution states that, I quote, "The state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker sections of the people, and in particular of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitations," unquote. The Supreme Court of India ruled in 1992 that reservation could not exceed 50%, anything above which it judged would violate equal access as guaranteed by the Constitution. It thus put a cap on reservations. Recently, central government has announced a 27% reservation for OBC and a 10% reservation for economical weaker section, that is EWS, candidates in the All India quota for undergraduate and postgraduate medical, dental courses, MBBS, MD, MS, Diploma, BDS, MDS, from the current academic year 2021 to 2022 onwards. Nearly 5,550 students will be benefit from the same. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, held a meeting on July 26th and directed the concerned ministries to facilitate an effective solution to this long pending issue. This decision on medical education reservation would benefit every year nearly 1,500 OBC students in MBBS and 2,500 OBC students in post-graduation, and also around 550 EWS students in MBBS and around 1,000 EWS students in post-graduations. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, tweeted, and I quote, "Our government has taken a landmark decision for providing 27% reservation for OBCs and 10% reservation for economically weaker section in the All India quota scheme for undergraduate and postgraduate medical and dental courses from the current academic year," unquote. Total number of medical colleges offering MBBS in India are 555. Number of MBBS seats total as on 3/3/2021 are 83,175. Total number of government medical colleges are 283. Number of private medical colleges are 218. Private deemed universities are 47. Central deemed universities are 4. Number of All India Institute of Medical Sciences in India are 19. The All India quota, AIQ, scheme was introduced in 1986 under the directions of the Supreme Court to provide for domicile-free merit-based opportunities to students from any state to aspire to study in a good medical college located in another state. All India quota consists of 15% of total available UG, that is undergraduate seats, and 50% of total available PG, that is postgraduate seats in government medical colleges. Initially, there was no reservation in AIQ schemes up to 2007. In 2007, Supreme Court introduced a reservation of 15% for SCs and 7.5% for STs in the AIQ scheme. When the Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Admission Act became effective in 2007, providing for uniform 27% reservation to OBCs, the same was implemented in all the central educational institutions. For example, Safdarjung Hospital, Lady Hardinge Medical College, Aligarh Muslim University, and Banaras Hindu Universities, etc. However, this was not extended to the AIQ seats of state medical and dental colleges. The union government has now taken a historic decision to provide for 27% reservation for OBCs and 10% reservation for EWS in the AIQ schemes. The OBC students from across the country shall now be able to take benefit of this reservation in AIQ schemes to compete for seats in any state. In order to provide benefit to students belonging to EWS category in admission to higher educational institutions, a constitutional amendment was made in 2019, which enabled the provision of 10% reservation for EWS categories. Accordingly, seats in medical and dental colleges were increased over 2 years in 2019-20 and 2020-21 to accommodate this additional 10% EWS reservation so that the total number of seats available for unreserved category do not reduce. In the AIQ seats, however, this benefit had not been extended so far. Therefore, along with the 27% reservation for OBCs, 10% reservation for EWS is also being extended in AIQ seats for all the undergraduate or postgraduate medical and dental courses from the current academic year 2021-22. This will benefit every year around more than 550 EWS students for MBBS and around 1,000 EWS students for PG medical courses. This decision is also in sync with the significant reforms carried out in the field of medical education since 2014. During the last 6 years, MBBS seats in the country have increased by 55% from 54,348 seats in 2014 to 83,175 seats in 2021. And the number of PG seats have increased by 80% from 30,191 seats in 2014 to 54,275 seats in 2020. During the same period, 179 new medical colleges have been established. The move is clearly yet another crucial signal to the large OBC vote bank in Uttar Pradesh. With the BJP desperate trying to keep the support of the dominant OBC vote, the Prime Minister had increased the number of OBC members in his Council of Ministers to 27 in the last regime. On last Monday, after the Prime Minister had directed the associated ministries to resolve the OBC reservation issue under AIQ with top priority, a senior government source after the meet had said, under current conditions, 15% undergraduate and 50% PG seats in medical colleges run by state governments are earmarked as all India quota. Unlike scheduled caste and scheduled tribes who have reservations in this quota for admissions, there is none for OBCs. Implementation of eligibility of this quota has been a long-standing demand from OBC groups, and the issue is under litigation in several courts for many years. The BJP was also pushing for the quota for EWS, as the affirmative action for this category has been a pet mandate for the Saffron Party, as a large section of upper caste supporters of the party have been pointing out that there are many who may not be socially backward but need help on grounds of economic backwardness. The final announcement is an interesting balancing act, as it takes care of the interests of both socially and economically backward candidates without making anyone left out. This will help the BJP keep its voting constituencies engaged in a make or break election like UP. Now, to discuss this very, very important point and very current hot topic and very relevant topic, the reservations in medical education, we have a very elite from all sects of the society, the panelists, the experts in their fields, authority, I will say, the panelist with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest. He is Professor Dr. P.P. Devan. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan is the Professor, Head and Neck Surgery at AJ Medical College, Mangalore. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan is an accomplished medical doctor and an all-rounder in latest treatment advancements. He is very fast in responding to changing times and very appropriate in deriving at medical solutions. Although he is specialized in head and neck surgery, he has effective treatment for many illnesses. His episode about self-care from COVID-19, which is done with me in media conference with Lal Goel during the first wave of the pandemic, went viral and helped many people to stay away from fear and panic caused by the virus. And I will also like to mention that that particular episode of the media conference has become so viral that many of the channels, or the Facebook people or the YouTube, those who are active in those, have translated that particular episode with their own languages and put it again. So it has been viral and many, many millions people viewed that. So that shows the popularity of Professor Dr. Devan. His episode about, he kept himself updated with latest treatment protocols and helped many people to manage the crisis at ease. He was professor and head of head and neck surgery of AJ Medical College, Mangalore. He now serves AJ Medical College as professor of head and neck surgery. He was chief of medical education of AJ Medical College, Mangalore earlier. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan, who had won 2 gold medals for outstanding research in the South India ENT conference and was the editor-in-chief of ENT International Journal. Welcome, Professor Dr. P.P. Devan. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan, you are not only a successful doctor, but you are also a professor, and you was head of the department of head and neck surgery at a medical college, very prestigious medical college. Now, and you have worked in other medical colleges also. Now, you can give us the insight of the medical education, because you were a medical student at one time, you were and then you become the practicing doctor, the teacher, the professor, head of the department. Still you are teaching. So we would like to know your views on the reservation in medical education. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan, please. No, you are on mute. Please unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel. Indeed, an honor to be on this panel with a group of elite people of outstanding academic brilliance. Now, may I start by quoting my Hindi teacher. You know, my Hindi teacher looked at my marks and he said, "No, I cannot believe these marks. How is it possible that you have not made a single error? Because both in first year and second year, physics and maths, I had 100 out of 100 in my PUC." And he said, "When I look at these marks, you mean to say not even a dot is not out of place?" I said, sir, even a dot is not out of place because that is the level of proficiency I had mastered on my subjects. A dot can kill. When a dot written in a drug dose is out of place, it can kill. A Boeing full of people, that is the number of patients who are killed by doctors every year in the United States alone. Now, these are called decimal deaths. What does that mean? That those who are selected in the art of healing, the healing sciences, should be of the outstanding best, both intellectually as well as hard work wise. And in that regard, only the very best should get into medicine because you're dealing with precious lives. So in that context, I must very clearly emphasize only the very best should go through the sieve of screening and get into medical school. We simply cannot have reservation based on caste, creed, religion. That just cannot happen. Now the question comes about finance. If a student comes from an economically backward and do not have the wherewithal to pay the fees, the government can very well give interest-free loans which he can pay back on working. We cannot simply compromise the system in which a student with a lower marks come into a medical college and then struggle through the remaining years and then struggle later on in life. When we scrutinize the medical college students, those who do academically very well, they go on to do very well later in life also. They get to be the best doctors, the best surgeons, and eventually go up the academic ladder. Only the very best academically should come into medicine. We cannot simply have a reservation based on, now what are we talking about? Other backward community, and that just can't be. Any student across the spectrum, if he works hard, can do well. I have students coming from very poor backgrounds, and today's context, the what do you mean by economically backward in today's definition? It is earning less than 8 lakhs a year. By that standard, many of us would be economically backward. Well, when my father was employed in a bank as a salaried employee, we were in a financially very restricted category, but still I worked very, very hard, got the marks, and got into Manipal through the government merit seat. That's the only way that you should get into medicine. So I'm very clear on that. If finance is a criteria, then we can arrange interest-free loans which a student can pay back. How difficult it becomes when imagine in not only in medicine, for example, in aviation, a person who's not academically good enough and then is permitted to become a pilot, how dangerous it can be. And I've seen major errors done by doctors who are not good enough. So later on, who will judge a doctor? Society will. And the terrible attacks against doctor maybe is a reflection. So in that context, I am again very clear, only the very best academically who are qualified to come into the system should get into medicine. No reservation, absolute whatsoever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Deven, for giving your views. And Dr. Deven is very, very forthright and clear in his thoughts. He says only the outstanding best should come to the medical and join the medicine, because he says that even a dot can kill patients. And he says there are known as the decimal death. So if a doctor is not properly educated and he's coming on the criteria, either he's OBC or SCST or economically backward, then, and if he's joining on that behalf, then how you expect a good doctor, a good treatment, and not a doctor who is going to kill the patients. And he says if you want to support the EWS, then you can very well provide them interest-free loan, and you can recover that loan after he joins the services after doing these qualifications. But why to take anyone who is not properly qualified or who is not of that merit, where only on the criteria of OBC or EWS? And he says, I'm totally against according to Dr. Deven, he's totally against of this reservation, which has been introduced last week only, because he says this is a field, and he has given an example of a pilot. He says, just consider if a pilot is also from a quota and he is not fully trained how to operate or how to fly aircraft, and if anything happens, what is going to happen? Similarly, for the doctors should be from the very, very good, brilliant track record, the qualification, academically very, very sound, then only they should become the doctor. Thank you very much, Dr. Deven, for giving your views. Now I would like to go to an educator. He is Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Dr. C.K. Manjunath is MS, MA, PhD. Dr. Manjunath is the Student Welfare Officer at Sri Madhva Valdiraja Institute of Technology and Management, Udupi. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This one line sums up Dr. Manjunath's career of almost 2 decades. A PhD from MIT Boston, MS from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, author of a maths book by Pearson's publication, an ardent researcher and an academician par excellence. He has dedicated 19 years of his career to achieving academic excellence and establishing a firm foundation for better education. He has completed his graduation in Information Science and Life Sciences, Master's in English Literature, B.Ed on an online course in Documentation and Information Science, and a program on effective leadership in teaching, learning, and process training. Across his illustrious career, he has held academic and administrative positions in leading institutes, including Justice K.S. Hegde Institute of Management, Sayadri College of Engineering and Management, Sadguru Public School, the Yenopaiya School and Yenopaiya PU College, Hanuman Group of Institutions, and Vidodhya Public School. Successfully hosting a science conclave where Nobel laureates and internationally acclaimed scientists were invited, serving as a guest faculty to young minds and contributing to building the academic talent pool have been the hallmark of his career. Receiving various awards and accolades are a testament of his deep commitment to furthering research and delivering academic excellence. Notable among them are Young Scientist Award in 2003 and 2009 for outstanding work in IT relating to biomedicine, Best Teacher Award by Rotary and JC NGO while serving as founder principal of Vidodhya Public School. He served as national level paper setter for JEE and NEET, Chief Superintendent for 10th and 12th exams and entrance exams like JEE, AIPMT and CTET of CBSE Board, Observer for 10th and 12th exams for National Institute of Open Schooling, Guest Faculty MBA program for Manipal Institute of Management, managed outreach programs, PGID programs, and literary wall club at Justice K.S. Hegde Institute of Management. An ardent researcher, he has authored and published articles and monthly periodicals, served as editor for Pearson publication Universal Mathematics till grade 8 and Wiley publication Physics textbook on electrostatistics and wave motion for grade 12. Welcome, Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Dr. C.K. Manjunath, you have heard what Professor Dr. Deven has given his views. Being a doctor himself, being a professor in a medical college, he is coming across with all types of students and he is having that experience. Now, you are also an educator. You are also dealing with the students right from your, as per your profile, from the students of the secondary section, then PUC, as well as the higher studies or higher education system. Now, we would like to know your views on the reservation in medical education. Dr. C.K. Manjunath, please.
Thank you very much, sir, and good morning to Dr. Deven. And met him long time back through Paulos. It was nice hearing sir saying outrightly that we shouldn't have the reservation policies at the higher education system. Sir, I do strongly go with the words of Dr. Deven, and I have few justifications also here. I would like to give you two perspectives before I go in detail with this. Number one is, A student of my name, a student of mine by name Priyadarshini. She, in fact, when she doesn't get the medical seat, she
One moment,
tells
please.
over a phone,
Yes, please go ahead.
I have got 402 marks in the NEET examination. I almost spent 2 years spending time at the best coaching institutes, and I did not get the medical seat which I was dreaming for. Her own classmate, who was from the SC/ST category, gets almost 15 marks less than her, gets comfortably a seat in one of the best medical colleges in India, and that too the fourth best medical college in India. Now the question here is, what happened? The girl called Priyadarshini, who did so well in the studies, who was so good, just because of this reservation policies, lose out the very important and credible seats. And whereas her own friend by name Renu, who was not so good in education, gets a medical seat. This is one instance. Second instance I wanted to quote was one more student of mine. Both the parents were doctors. The father and mother, they had got the seat during their education through reservations because they were from the SC/ST community. And when I saw their own daughter getting a seat, they were economically well off. To tell you frankly, they had 2 BMWs at their houses. Their child gets the medical seat through this reservation policy. Now, why I quoted these two examples? Because I know very well government had taken up the policy of reservation. Obviously, as Lal Goel clearly said, one is political agenda, but they use a word saying obviously essential for upliftment of the people on poverty line. This is the statement that they say. And even the other day when Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, when he said mine is a landmark decision, they wanted to see that these people who are below poverty line, they get placed well in the society with the limited source that is available for them. But unfortunately, this kind of reservation is bringing in, or it is bringing down the skills of the people. As Dr. Devan very clearly mentioned, if good doctors does not exist, please think of the situation of the patients. We very well experienced during the COVID situation. There were many doctors who just even failed to give the right diagnosis. The quality of doctors, it has to come through their sincerity, dedication, and interest in their disciplines. Only such person can become a good doctor. It's not through this kind of reservation. So my earnest request to the policy makers here, please do not deprive the eligible candidates who have got abilities to take up the courses. I know under this category of reservation, there is very less competition. Around 9,000 seats, if it exists, 2 or 3 will be the competitors for it. But under general category, for one seat, more than 25 or 30 students compete. And it is very difficult, the most eligible students to get this. I've seen the statistics of 2020 NEET. 7.75, they said were eligible for taking up the admissions. Of that, 6.8 came under the general category. But please see how many were deprived. How many real eligible, competent students got deprived of it. I don't go that far to quote. My own example, I would like to tell you. I was also one of such students who was aspirant of becoming a doctor. I got in my CT during my period 501th rank. And during my days, it was limited only till 500 ranks under the urban quota. With the difference of 1 rank, as Dr. Devan said, that decimal values really differentiated a lot. And I had to change my dream. There are many sufferers like this. Is this the reason to say that are we not capable of taking up such courses? Number 2, why should we have to give privileges to such people who have abilities to fight? As I quoted that example of doctor's family. And there are many people who take the privileges under that. Why should they be given that kind of privilege? Why should you have to avoid it? As Dr. Devan clearly said, if there is an economic problem, there are many ways today to handle it. See, I see at my college, any student who have the inability to pay, there are a variety of scholarships that exist. Our own college pays more than 2.2 crores per year, the scholarships through various schemes to the students. So it is my earnest request to all the policy makers, especially higher education, and that to now see the situation at PG medical is much worse. At least you have more number of seats. At PG, it almost comes down. And there, if you introduce such policies, as they said, we will have left with only junk. And they don't even complete the courses. They don't even will have the capabilities to take through that stress. They will not understand the technicality of it. I'm not saying that all have the problems who come through reservation. There are definitely good students. We do see them. But why an injustice done to other group where we have eligibilities? So let's think about it in a systematic manner and take the decision of reservation in the right. Reservation shouldn't be for those who come through the caste. Reservation need to be done through the people who have the abilities, who can take the risk, who can manage the pressure, who would like to give their dedication. Give them such reservation and make sure that they all become eligible. So UG and PG courses, whether it is engineering, say day before yesterday, one of my students was telling me JEE advanced results have come. 81 marks he has got, he has failed. Whereas the guy under SC/ST quota who has got 41, he has cleared it. What will that student do? These are all some of the questions all policymakers need to think. Why such reservations does not exist in defense quota? You please tell me. Why we don't have such reservations in CA-like courses? Because they look at competencies. They really look forward for the values that is there needed for the provisional values. See, take the private sectors like multinational companies. Do they have the reservation policy? No. They really look forward for the skills. They really look forward for the content knowledge that is possessed by the student. So let's not go with this blame game or political agenda or the vote bank powers and let's not ruin our society with all these traitors. I request Lal Goel sir to take this platform, probably this topic in such a higher agenda to the, because even day before yesterday when I was saying after I got to know from Goel sir that this is the topic for the Monday, many of my students, they said, sir, please put your words in a strong way and say to the media that there are many students who are really getting deprived of this. So it is my humble submission to Goel sir. Please make sure that the policymakers understand this. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. C.K. Manjunath. I know that you are expecting, or your students are expecting, that some change can come. I cannot, because see, this decision has been taken by not less than the Prime Minister himself. And once he has taken a decision, and we all know that this is a decision keeping an eye on the forthcoming elections. So it is very, very difficult for at the moment to change this decision. But yes, there are few more things which I would like to add. This decision also based because this DMK has moved in the Madras High Court, and the Madras High Court directed the government to include the OBC reservation, which the government is not doing. So the Madras High Court gave an ultimatum, and there was a contempt petition was filed. So because of that, one of the reasons which the government wanted to say that, see, because we have done it because of the High Court, although the government have power to change the law whenever they want. But as Dr. C.K. Manjunath has said, I would like to highlight few things. He says that his own student, one is she got 402 marks, and the less than 15 marks by the another girl. The other girl is selected, but not this girl. Now one can imagine that the psychology of this girl getting more marks, not getting admission, what will be her the entire life she will be repenting, and she might be cursing her parents that why you are in higher caste, why I was born in your family, I should have born in a lower caste, OBC, or an economical backward class, so I would have got admission in medical. That is one. But what he says is, he has also given example of a doctor couple, both doctors. They got the admissions because earlier they were in the same SC/ST quota, but now they are super rich. They have BMWs and whatnot. Still, their daughter got admission because of the quota only of SC/ST, not because of her merit. So why it is when you have given a quota at certain time, why now? He also mentioned that many of the cases, although we cannot vouch because no such type of survey has been done, but definitely if the doctors can, or some research agency will do the survey, can say that those doctors, because of their negligence or because of their wrong diagnosis, so many patients have lost their life during COVID. But that is not because there is no factual, so we cannot vouch for this. But he himself gave his own example. He says he wanted to become a doctor, but because of his caste barrier, because he got the marks far more than the others, but he could not enter because he also born in a higher caste. I'm sure, Dr. C.K. Manjunath, you must also ask your parents why they have not converted themselves to a lower caste. I also wanted many times in my childhood that I should be born to this thing. But there are other aspects also, which when I will be coming, I will be asking you that side also. He also mentioned about gave the example of JEE exams. He also mentioned one more very important point. He says why there is no quota in armed forces. When armed forces doesn't have quota, then why we have quota in medical this thing. He also mentioned there are no quotas in multinational company. I remind you one thing, Dr. C.K. Manjunath, there is a demand going on, and for the private companies, and very soon the multinational companies will also have the reservation because of the so much, you can say, the vote bank politics, that they have to agree and they have to abide by the law, what is happening today. Thank you very much, Dr. C.K. Manjunath, for giving your forthright views. And he is also, as Professor Dr. Deven, both are very clear that no quota should be there in, according to Professor Dr. Deven, in medical education. And as per Dr. C.K. Manjunath, not only medical education, in any higher education, no quota should be there. Thank you very much, Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Now I'm going to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Charu Maheshwari. Dr. Charu Maheshwari is MBBS, DGO, DNB. She is an obstetrician and gynecologist at Rainbow Hospital, Aligarh. She is a dedicated and caring obstetrician and gynecologist with 15 plus years of experience in clinical practice, helping about 40 clients daily with their reproductive elements. She is a member of Indian Medical Association and FOGSI, Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology Society of India. Presently working as a specialist consultant in Rainbow Hospital, Aligarh, and dealing with patients with high-risk pregnancy, infertility, and other reproductive problems. She has performed 2,000 plus complicated cesarean sections with favorable outcome with patient satisfaction. She, as senior laparoscopy surgeon, performed more than 100 cases of infertility, total laparoscopic hysterectomy, ovarian cysts, myomectomy, and other reproductive disorders. She has done her MBBS degree course from Government Medical College, Thrissur, Kerala, diploma in obstetrics and gynecology PG course from Aligarh University, and was awarded gold medal for outstanding performance. She did her diplomate in National Board from Batra Hospital and Medical Research Center, New Delhi. Welcome, Dr. Charu Maheshwari, on our show. Dr. Charu Maheshwari, you have heard Professor Dr. P.P. Deven as well as Dr. C.K. Manjunath. And both have given their views very, very clear against the reservation. Now, you are only one who belongs to the Uttar Pradesh because this is a common belief that this particular reservation declared by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, last week is because eyeing of the UP or Uttar Pradesh elections, because of the number of OBCs there and economically backward people there. So now we would like to know. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, if you have any emergency patient, I can take the other, and then I will.
No, I did it. No problem.
Okay. No, okay. So so you are from UP, and you know inside the politics of UP better than all of us. Although at one time I was also from UP, but now I am not. Now we would like to know your views. And being a doctor yourself, and you were also a medical student earlier, and now you are practicing, your views on the reservation in medical education. Dr. Charu Maheshwari, please.
Good morning, sir. So first of all, thank you for inviting me on this, the most debatable topic of our country. Am I audible?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Most debatable topic of our country. Reservation should be there or not be there. If we go to the higher class or the people who belong to the
you have muted yourself. Yes.
These people will always want upliftment, but once you go to upper caste, they always say there should be a common system for the entrance to, especially to the.
Again, it is muted. I think some problem. Please unmute. Yeah. Yeah. No, you have. Yes. Yes. Please go ahead.
Especially to the medical system, we should have. I agree. The deserved should get the seat, not the reserved one. But we get it. But how do we make them? What should be the criteria for that thing? We should uplift those scheduled caste OBCs. We should make them able that they should be able to complete that exam. Then there should be a common entrance to enter in the medical college. That should not be like this, that because you are SC, you cannot compete in the common entrance exam. Even if you will get 0, you will enter in the medical college. That should not be criteria. They should get good education. They should be prepared for a proper, as we are having NEET examination, there should not be the reservation in that case. They should be reserved for the 12th class. They should be reserved for the coaching centers. And then the creamy layer should be judged, and that people should clear the NEET exam. Then they should enter the medical college. So if we passing any law, it should be implemented properly. What we are doing, Narendra Modi has said that 15% quota for 27% quota for the OBCs. That does not mean that any OBC can enter in the medical college. He should, that quota should not go like this, that person is not having the qualification. He is not up to that mark. Like his mental level, even he is not that IQ that he can enter in the medical college. So it should not be like this. Same like NRI quotas. NRI quotas are also having the same. They're offering money to the government, and then they are getting the seat. Same like capitation fees. They are offering money and then getting the seat. This should not be the criteria, because once these people enter in the medical college, they cannot compete with the doctors. They itself goes to the depression, and then they don't study well. We have seen so many cases that they are chronically failed in the exams. They can't compete. They don't become the good doctor, but somehow they start practicing. Some of these SC/STs are not carrying even degrees. Still they are practicing because they could not complete. They could not. It needs a real brain to study in these medical colleges. You have to understand a lot of. You need very deep knowledge to reach up to a certain level. But once you cannot do that, if your IQ level is not that much, then there is no use of wasting a seat for the person who cannot, who is not having that much capacity. So we need amendment in these laws, but we are making the people who are having economically weaker, they should be economically supported. Economically weaker is not like this, that you give them a seat in the medical college, that you are economical. They should be economically supported. They should be made able to that they should clear the medical exam, then they should enter the medical college. And one person, if he's taking the seat from the quota, then the other person should not be allowed. We need amendments in these laws so that it can be useful to other society. It will become useful to these categories. What is happening? The people who really need these quotas, they are not getting it. And the people who are just having economically better sections, they are utilizing these powers. That is the problem with these reservations. Secondly, first we are having reservation in MBBS, then the next reservation in post-graduation. That is worst. Once you are not able to complete the MBBS properly, you are completing in 10 years or 15 years, then you are getting quota in post-graduation also. That makes you the worst doctors. And that creates a problem. We have heard so many violences and all these are going on, but the reason is behind is somehow, I'm not saying the 100% that is the reason, but somehow incompetent doctor, when it becomes, and it always creates problems. So my criteria is that if we are making any laws, we should first think that it should be adequately implemented, whether it is in UP, whether it is in Kerala, which is the highest education. Everybody wants any quota, if any policies we are making, we should see that it should be adequately implemented. The people really who needs it, they should get it. But the people who are using it without, who does not need it, that should not be there. That is my view.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Charu Maheshwari. Again, Dr. Charu Maheshwari, I will not say anger mood, but yes, with full of agony, she also expressed her views as Professor Dr. Deven as well as Dr. C.K. Manjunath. She says no quota should be there in medical colleges, and especially in not even the postgraduate. And that I would like to highlight few of her thoughts. She says deserve, not reserve. So she says those who are deserving, they must get the admission. Why those who are under the reservation category, they are coming? She says if you want to uplift the backward or the economical backward or OBCs or SC/ST, give them good education, give them free education, give them up to 12th of standard, give them the coaching, but the NEET exam should not have any reservation. Let it be open competition for all. Those who will be selected, they will be selected on the merit basis. She says that the NRI quota is wrong. By paying money, it doesn't mean that you require money, so you are taking the money and giving admission to XYZ, those who are not competent, and they are taking 4, 5, 10 to 15 years to pass the exams. She also mentioned that many of these students who are coming through quotas, they failed in the studies and they go in the depression. And then even many of them are practicing without degree, but nobody is there to check and record them. And she also mentioned that please don't waste the seat. Seat is very important. Deserving, those who are competing, who have a dream to become doctor, but they are not becoming doctor, and the undeserving, those who are not competent enough, are getting the seats. She says you support economically to those who are economically backward, but don't allow them to enter NEET on a reservation basis. As Professor Dr. Devan has also mentioned, that why economically you give them free, no charges from them. If the government want, even no loan, it should be that is, she has not mentioned, but I am saying let it be a free seat for a economical backward. Then there is no problem. But only after clearing the NEET exam on merit. And she says the PG, the post-graduation is first. She says, just imagine the situation when a doctor who has completed his MBBS in 10 or 12 or 15 years instead of 5 years, and then he will get the admission easily in the PG, the postgraduate course, because of the reservation. What quality of the doctor will be? And she has put one very, very interesting, or I must say alarming thing, which is news to me. She says, if we will see the violence in hospitals which are occurring, not 100%, but the many of them is occurring because of the incompetence of the doctor, because they have come from the quota, and that's why they don't know how to handle. They are not prescribing they are not giving the proper diagnosis. That's why the irritation of the patient's relatives. We cannot vouch from the media conference side because we don't know the statistics. These are her views because she is doing work practically, and she is seeing what is happening across other hospitals and the places. Thank you very much, Dr. Charu Maheshwari, for giving your views. I am sure your views are very, very strong views and in line with all our earlier speakers. Let's hope that somebody should listen expert views. These are not politically biased views. I don't know which political party she is aligned, or Professor Devan is aligned, or Dr. C.K. Manjunath is aligned, but they are talking as those who have undergone through this agony, or those who are seeing this thing, their practical life every day, because they are teaching us. Now I would like to invite, thank you very much, Dr. Charu Maheshwari. Now I would like to invite my last but not the least guest, and she is Advocate Avishi Dhaka. So till now, we have heard from two doctors, professor, as well as educator. Now we want to see the legal point of view and general. And I would like to say she's a young, promising advocate from Delhi. Her views, because she has attended my earlier media conference, are very forthright. She is having some leniency towards the government of the day. Let's see how she is going to defend the indefensible today. Although she is advocate, she can. She is Advocate Avishi Dhaka. She is BA LLB Honors LLM. She is advocate in Supreme Court, New Delhi. She is result-oriented professional with excellence in implementing training mechanisms to deliver desired output, seeking assignments in learning and development with an organization of high repute. Her areas of expertise are ability to balance priorities and coordinate work effectively, leadership skills, excellent analytical skills, and aptitude for figures, ability to stay calm under pressure, can analyze large amounts of information, good written and spoken communication skills, client care skills, sound judgments, organized and efficient, good project management and team building skills. She was trained at Gurgaon Cyber Crime Cell under Commissioner of Gurgaon Police and Mr. Rakshit Tandon, cyber security expert, and dealt with police investigation in cyber crime cases, economic crimes, social media crimes, website crimes, mobile crimes, email crimes, etc. Welcome, Advocate Avishi Dhaka on our show. Advocate Avishi, you have heard what Professor Dr. Deven, Dr. C.K. Manjunath, as well as Dr. Charu Maheshwari has given their views. And their views are totally against this reservation. Now, being in Delhi, being practicing in Supreme Court, you know the inside of the legalities, which all other panelists are not that much familiar. So definitely we would like to know your views on the reservation in medical education. Advocate Avishi Dhaka, please. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Good morning, esteemed guests, panelists, doctors, and Mr. Lal Goel for conducting such a nice and good conference on the hot burning topic of the nation. And I will talk about the law here, mainly because I'm an advocate. So I should be talking more about law. First, I will be talking about law. Then I'll be coming on opinion, what I feel and what changes should be brought in and what can be the solution of this thing. Of course, the medical field is not is about humankind. We cannot play with the conscience of the humankind. If I am a patient and I go to a doctor, would I allow the doctor even to take my temperature if I know the person has cleared MBBS or his complete UG and PG on the basis of quota? I would never. Would I go undergo a surgery if I know the doctor has studied through quota? No. Any patient would not go of any category that we have so defined as SC, ST, OBC. But here I want to talk about law. First, why did that happen? It's not just about politics, how law works. That is also very much important for us to understand and what can be the solution of it. The law was made at the time when India got independent, and it was 22.5% of the population which was lagging behind, which was so incompetent, you can say, or was not keeping pace with the development of the society for India. So we had to bring them together on the mainstream. To bring them on the mainstream in general, for a general cause, we made certain laws. We came with the first amendment to have Article 46 in to have it some backing legally. We brought Article 15 clause 4 for the backward classes and to support SC, STs and backward classes, from where we got the first quota of 27% and those 7% and 7.5%, which we see today. So here it was to achieve the equality in the society. It was a class legislation, you can say. This class will compete with this class. OBCs will compete within the OBCs. General will compete within the general class. So to achieve a level playing field, we had to bring justice to all. And how did it become that? Because whenever there's a conflict between a fundamental right and a directive principle of a state policy, the fundamental rights always prevail in such a clash, as it was given in Champaran Dorai Rajan versus Union of India, 1951. So it talks about the reservation, and not generally about the medical, but in general. So to bring education for all, the Supreme Court had to make a decision on discrimination that cannot happen. So for that, special rules and laws have to be made. And Supreme Court in N. Nagarajan case 2006 gave a complete power and declared it constitutionally that the parliament has the power to make laws relating to the reservation, which is why we have this reservation today. And we think that the government is playing for its politics. Of course, it may be doing that. So here, then we were talking about the aim of Article 15, Clause 4, which was to give equality to all the classes. So here we can say that the government did give reservation to all the courses, but we do not have it in armed forces. Why? Because their government has a bond with them that we are investing on you, and they do not have fundamental rights within the armed forces. So that is a no doubt that's a different scenario. But if they leave the job before the prescribed period of 2 years or 5 years or 3 years, which is mentioned in their bond, they will have to pay a lot of fees that the government had invested on them. That is also a thing. And second, should it be in the medical education? Should it have a reservation policy? Well, it is not just a matter of debate anymore. I think the society needs a change. And for that solution, it is not about you reserve the seats which are presently available. Why don't you increase the number of seats for admission? You are increasing the reservation is not the solution. You have to increase the amount of seats. So many people want to become doctors, and so many people do not have the paying capacity to pay the fees in lakhs and crores to do it from private institutions. And the private institutions are not as promising as government ones. So you should increase the seat. You should have such infrastructure. You should have some these kind of labs and teachers. You should invest on amenities. You should invest on educating more people, other than you are making it a class competition. It is not a class competition. Of course it will have a lot of impact on the society, as it will not be having qualified doctors. As I myself come from a doctor family, my father is chief medical officer, and I know how hard it was for him to study and to be through and to be a topper always. So he got his chance to play. But nowadays, if I or my brothers would like to go for it, it will take years. Or if even they try, they would get it, the course or the college won't be which they had asked for or they dreamed for. So for that, the government does not need reservation. It needs more seats, more classes of more colleges, more institutions of these kinds. They are here since the legend, and we need more seats in them. Either you increase their bench, or you increase their what do we say, you take help from the private sector. It's not about reserve category. And of course, once you are running an organization, you need money. We cannot say that we cannot have NRI quota, because NRI quota brings a lot of money to it, because of which you are giving EWS. So EWS needs some sort of funding. So this is my take on reservation in medical in medical education, that we should not have reservation in medical education, although we might have it in general. And there is not a criteria of creamy layer in SCs and STs, which should have been, which is there in OBCs. That if I talk about the people like me, my classmates who belong to SC, STs and came from judges' families, they have gunners. They are their brought up is done like an officer's daughter or son. You are nowhere in comparison to other SC, STs. You are way better than them. You have become equivalent in the society, in the mainstream. Now you do not need further quota. So it is not just a matter of conscience to them. It should be made a law that creamy layers should exist everywhere. And why just general and OBCs? So this is my take on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Daka, for giving your views. And what she says, she has taken a middle path, I can say. She is not giving a straight answer. Again, I am asking you, before I will brief your thing, do you want the reservation should be there in medical education or not? Advocate Avishi.
Not in medical education. There is no need for reservation, and there cannot be. and
Okay.
it cannot keep pace in the society for long. They have to admit it anyhow, because no one would like to go to a doctor who got his degree or
Okay.
got his
Okay.
education as a
Yes.
compromise.
Yes, you have made the point. So what Advocate Avishi says is that first thing she says, if you know that this doctor who is going to perform your surgery is admitted from the quota basis, either from ESW or from OBC or SC/ST, would you like to get yourself or your child's surgery done by that particular doctor? Because if what she means is that whether this doctor is competent enough or not. But she says legally, because when we became independent, lots of underprivileged society was there, and those to bring them in the mainstream, the Supreme Court has given, and the Constitution was prepared, and in the Constitution there was a articles which were clearly mentioned that the reservation has to be given, and the Supreme Court gave power to the Parliament. So she says, please don't blame the present government. It's a power given by the Supreme Court, so they have utilized the power. But she says, she has given a very interesting point. She says there are no fundamental rights in armed forces. So basically there is no quota. Although I could not understand whether you have a fundamental right or not. Quota is a quota. It has nothing when the rich class or those who are uplifted, or those who are not backward class, if they are not having no fundamental rights, the quota persons cannot have a fundamental right. But she says increase the seats. The question, Advocate Avishi, again I will tell you, it's not the question of increasing the seat. The question is about the quality of the doctors, which our earlier panelists have said. Anyway, but these are her views. And she says she also belongs to a medical family. Her father is a chief medical officer. And what she says, that it is not advisable that people should, the government should give a quota reservation in medical field. She says NRI quota is required because the medical facilities has to be developed. The medical colleges require funds. So that's why the medical quota is, the NRI quota is there. And she says when we are talking of SC/ST and OBC, there is a creamy layer. So the creamy layer should not be allowed to avail any type of quota. But Advocate Avishi, as Professor Dr. P.P. Devan mentioned, about 8 lakhs rupees per annum is the criteria. Now, how many are earning today 8 lakhs rupees? And especially in the COVID time, I am sure that many of them are not even, and those who are earning, they are not showing 8 lakhs. So one can have lots of loopholes in your law. If their family is earning 8 lakhs, whether it is for family, who will termed as a family, or it's for individual. So father is earning 8 lakhs, 7.5 lakhs, mother is earning 7.5 lakhs, whether it will be clubbed and then it will be termed as 15 lakhs, or it will be 7.5 plus 7.5. And you know, in India, we have number 1 and number 2 income. So how many doctors and how many advocates and how many other professionals, how many business people are issuing the receipt? Recently, there was a raid at Kanpur in UP on a samosa wala and a pan wala, and they found few hundred crores rupees there. Now, they are always a ESW. They will always claim, I am a pan wala. I cannot earn 8 lakhs rupees, but in their house, they found 250 crores and whatnot. So that is the criteria. Anyway, thank you very much, Advocate Avishi, for giving your views. Now, my question goes to Professor Dr. P.P. Devan. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan, you mentioned that they should be provided money if they are economical backward. They should not be given any reservation. You are saying because you think the quality. But as a professor of a medical college, I am now putting a straight question to you. You might have come across all types of students, reserved and unreserved, quota and no quota. What is your personal experience, without naming anyone, what you say, whether those who have come, even if with quota, according to you, whether they cannot be a good or successful, not successful, good doctor, quality doctor, or they are as good as the non-quota doctors. Professor Dr. P.P. Devan, please. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Sir, let me make my views very clear. I have been witness to student community coming in to medical colleges for decades. I was with the Manipal group earlier. Now I'm in another college. And you know, there is absolutely no comparison between students who earlier came through capitation, because that is how the large part of the students came in once upon a time, and those who have come through the NEET, National Entrance Exam. The NEET students certainly are of a better caliber. I want to very clearly emphasize on that. But that is not the issue. The issue is, of course, certainly I have seen people who have come in through a lower eligibility, meaning the reserved quota. Quite often they are not able to bear with the burden of the academic vastness. It's a huge ocean. You need to be outstandingly good intellectually as well as hardworking wise. One can't take things easy. Now, the second thing I find is today, in the short from next year onwards, there is something horrendous about to happen, and that is called the next exam, National Exit Test. And believe me, it is extraordinarily difficult. We are doing a disservice to students who are coming in through the reservation quota, because even for normal they cannot do their internship. They cannot touch a patient. At the end of internship, there is something called the next part two. And unless they pass that, they cannot practice. So even normal students, when they're going to find it incredibly difficult, God only can imagine how these underprivileged, underperforming students can clear these exams and come out. So what will happen? There's a large backlog of fully qualified but non-practicing doctors, because to touch a patient, you need to pass next one. Now, the second thing, as Madam Avishi said, is to increase the seats. And I have seen in earlier Manipal, we had 100 and then 150, and now it is 250. It's a huge ocean. And many doctors are not able to find jobs. My postgraduate students who have qualified from my department last 2-3 years, they are finding it difficult to get a job. So where is the question of dearth of doctors? There is a surplus. And in my opinion, the government, Prime Minister, His Excellency, Mr. Modi has done a disservice by introducing mediocrity into the country. Does that exist in America? No, it does not. Only the very best, very hardworking, intellectually able students. For others who are not up to the mark, who can't come into the system, there are so many other avenues. You need not really, why am I crazy to come into medicine, which is a difficult, demanding field and highly risky concerning the climate in the country. Something goes wrong, the entire public will attack you. There are so many other ways to survive also. So we need to be very clear. Do not look at, I really hold St. John's as a role model. For many years, they had only 60 students come in. Recently, they have increased to 100. That is the way it should be. High quality doctors. Look at the CA group. They will not allow everybody to become a CA. They have put a very clear, very low pass percentage. The very chosen few only can pass CA. Is there a dearth of CA chartered accountants in India? Yes. But still, we have placed the cutoff so high, only the very best can pass. How many students we have seen who have halfway through, they have left the CA course because they realize it is not. So, therefore, we have enough doctors. Technology is so advanced that we can access the most remotest corner of the country by telemedicine, which is coming in a big way. We need not increase the number of seats of the doctors, bring out the very best, make us on par. After all, Indians, when they migrate to America, to Britain, to wherever, they are the very best. We have produced the best doctors in the world. Retain that and grow to a standard of excellence, which is what this country deserves. And if reservation is what the government does, I only pray, God save my country.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Deven. God save my country, says Dr. P.P. Deven. And now my question goes to Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Dr. C.K. Manjunath, you have heard what Dr. Deven has said. But question is, after all, we are living in society. We know how they have been undergone so much deprived of all the facilities for not years and years, several 100 years. Don't you think, as a responsible citizen, as a responsible government, we have a duty to see to it that every citizen should be at par? And today, by this way, if we are not giving them the encouragement, we are not bringing them at par, how they can come and become a doctor or engineer if they are not having a level field, like you know that coaching classes are there now. Rich can afford to go for coaching class. How a deprived, who is economically backward, who is a SC, ST, or OBC, who are not that financially sound, how you expect that they can also go for a good top class coaching class and they get the admission? Don't you think the government has to step in, and that's why Mr. Modi has taken the right decision?
So, I would like to, because your question has two parts in it. See, why people go to that high level coaching? The reason is the competency of the exam is very high. As Dr. Devan said, right now the two new exams that are coming up, see, the competency level is rising. That is the reason people are going for such high level teaching and coaching. On the other side, what are you doing by bringing in this quota? You're bringing in some such students who doesn't have capabilities. See, all panelists, if I take that into one loop of our discussion, we all have pressurized the word of the quality is important. Until and unless quality exists, you cannot have any outcome out of it. Now, sir, you're talking about social justice. Social justice can be brought in keeping the word of quality. We are not against those people who are economically backward. We are against the policy of reservation, which is given to a student who is not capable, who is not competent, who doesn't have any deserving ability. He is getting into it. See, I didn't say one comment during I knew when I was preparing for the KCET entrance examination, one of my friend who is from that particular quota, he comes and says, Manju, why do you want to take so much of trouble? You will not get medical seat. But I will tell you, I'll get that seat. That happened after 5 years. He became a doctor and I couldn't. And do you know what kind of, I don't want to say, yeah, he has prospered in his own way, being not continuing in the medical education, but he has taken up so many other ways. Sir, what I'm trying to say here is qualities need to be given importance. See, as I said in my previous words, if there is sincerity, if there is dedication, if there is hard work, if there is some kind of achievable abilities in the kid, he can be from any caste, any creed, that child should be given importance.
Okay.
See, here, the problem comes when you create injustice to the competence. A child strives here for 2 years, putting so much of money. See, I'll tell you, sir, take Mangalore and Udupi itself. There are parents who are not able to pay so much of fees. They are taking loans just to send them for the coaching because they have a dream that their kids should become doctors. But ultimately, these political agendas, if they intervene and take away their dreams, why are we not looking from that part? You just see in general category, how many parents who are from the middle class families are struggling to face that kind of challenges. In my own daughter's case, I have experienced, she had questioned me, Appa, was that wrong that I was born in Brahmin community? Why can't I change my category from Brahmin to SC/ST? She had asked me this question. I did not have answers. And this is running through all those kids who are so sincere about their study. So, sir,
Okay.
there is no injustice, but injustice is because of political.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Yes, what you say, social injustice. At the time of independence, yes, it was. But whether it is still continuing, it's a failureness of all, irrespective of the party, of the governments. If they cannot uplift those who are having those injustice, this their fault. Instead of rectifying their faults, they just want to impose to the, and in a very wrong way, according to you and Professor Dr. Devan. Thank you very much. Now my question goes to Dr. Charu Maheshwari. Sorry.
I would like to leave. Can I take a leave?
Yeah, please. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now, Dr. Charu Maheshwari, do you think this decision Modi is nothing but a political gimmick just to fool the voters so that they will be attracted? The upper caste will be attracted. Oh, economical backward, and you know in UP how many are paying tax. All over India, how many are paying tax? So they all are economically backward, and so they and the SC, ST, and OBC. So don't you think it's a political move? It has nothing to do with the education.
नहीं सर, ऐसे नहीं कह सकते हैं कि only political move है. मोदी ने बहुत सारे work he has done which has benefited so many people.
No, we are not talking of other works. I'm talking of specifically this. About this only I'm talking as a medical.
हाँ, like पहले वाले कोटे से we are not reaching up to the mark कि जितना हम उनको uplift करके society में equality लाना चाह रहे हैं, we are not reaching up to the mark. Quota has been increased. We can see both the ratio. Of course, one is political move, but what is the motto behind them? They are taking that कि हमें और उनको equal लाना है, ठीक है? But वही है कि policies बनाओ, उसको implement सही से करो. 27% कोटा दो आप, लेकिन उनको उस लेवल तक लेकर आओ कि वो एक मेडिकल कॉलेज में क्रीमी लेयर के साथ compete करने लायक हो सके. आप 50% तक करिए. जब ये 1902 में कोटा शुरू हुआ था, that was 50% for the that Shauji Maharaj had started with this.
Yes.
In Sholapur. तो but उनका ये नहीं था कि सिर्फ जस्ट एक कोटा देख के उनको हमने बना दिया कि you are a doctor now. नहीं, they should be competent doctor. Where they should be competent. They should be competent advocate.
Thank you very much. We got your point. Yes, you are right that because I know that you are also aligned to which party, so you cannot criticize. But yes, one thing is very clear that you must make the competent the person to enter in the examination, NEET examination, and compete with everyone. Now my question goes to Advocate Avishi. I know that politically you are going to safeguard, but do you think this move of the government will be challenged in Supreme Court? Because many, as today you have seen, almost all the three panelists apart from you, although you are also 50% towards this side, are not happy. They are going to be lots of repercussion. Do you think it will go to the Supreme Court and test the legality?
Yes, definitely.
Advocate Avishi?
Yes, I feel definitely it will go and it should go to the Supreme Court. By any means, by any matter, by way of a PIL or by way of any measure or recommendation directly to the Law Commission and to the Parliament itself and to the lawmakers. So it is not just a suggestion, it is a repercussion for the society, and it will be done someday. It has to come because many people are going to face this reality, and in reality, this is going to be against humanity. Against human consciousness. So if we are talking about quality, we are talking about competency, we are talking about the merit. So yes, not just medical field, maybe in all other fields also, the professional fields especially, be it law, be it, we have already done so far, the AIB, All India Bar Examination doesn't have any quota. We have to clear it anyhow. And
excuse me, Advocate Avishi, what you are saying that in the legal fraternity there is no quota?
No, especially in 2 exams there is no quota. That is one advocate on record of Supreme Court. We do not have any quota. We have to pass. We have to get the marks overall 60% aggregate to become an advocate on record of Supreme Court, and to clear AIB, which everyone has to, if we are coming and enrolling ourselves to the bar, there is no quota in both the examinations.
But in your LLB exams, LLB
Yes, yes.
classes?
For the entrance of CLAT, there is quota.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
and
Yes, yes.
and even for judiciary, there is quota where it should not be.
Okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Avishi. So, viewers, you have seen the very, very strong views from those who are expert in this field. And they are very, very clear. Please enlighten them. Please educate them up to grade 12. Give them whatsoever they want. But no quota, no reservation in medical field, and especially even the super specialty, that is the even for going for the post graduation. And they have made it very, very clear, when there is no quota in army or the armed forces, when there is no quota even for the advocate or regard in Supreme Court, those are not playing with the life of an individual. A doctor, if he is not or she is not competent, can kill. Would you like, as one of the panelists said, would you like to take your child to a doctor if he or she is not competent? So one has to think. I'm sure today's program has enlightened, giving the thought, the food for the thought, and you all have to decide who is right, who is wrong. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as what's shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you everyday new topic. Not every day, but for last more than 2.5 months, we are doing an evening show called Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang, in which we bring one chief guest who has achieved in his life, who is an achiever. So today, and he or she is going to tell her or his own story, autobiography. So today, my chief guest is Colonel S. Dini. He's retired colonel. He's a contemporary writer now from Kollam. He's joining, and he's going to give his autobiography from his own mouth. So please tune in today for Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. P.P. Devan. Thank you very much, Dr. C.K. Manjunath. Thank you very much, Dr. Charu Maheshwari. And thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Jaka, for giving your open, forthright, and honest views. Let's hope what the viewers will make their opinion. That is up to them. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show.